Beth Terminella, and I'm with 110 Realty Group, where we are down here in Crystal Beach and we sell Crystal Beach. That's our website. I have been in real estate for about 25 years now. It's a long time. I was in the Dallas area and now I'm at the beach. I am joined today, and I'm so happy to do this, with Felipe Caldiera. Did I get that right?
Perfect.
And you are new at Bolivar Vacations. Well, you've been working with them for a while, but you just really started taking over the, the projects, the management, the day-to-day of it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. Thanks, Beth. And so Felipe, I started investing in real estate back in 2020. I took the traditional route, I would say. I think what many people go through is, you start with long-term rentals, and then you realize that it's a lot more headache than it is actual cash flow. So in 2021, December 21, we purchased our first short-term rental. It was actually down on the beach in Gilchrist, and we did really, really well. I think it took us only 3 or 4 months to realize that we were doing significantly better than most of the competition. And I'm pretty impatient. So when I realized that, I went all in. And then the next year and a half, we went from 1 short-term rental to having 9 total that we own. Wow. 2 down the beach, and then a few others in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that's actually what allowed me to quit my job. I was a director in a tech company, actually, supply chain. Liked the job, but honestly was just ready to have my own business, kind of build my own.
That's great.
Thank you. Build my own company. And so that's what we did. We started managing homes for other owners about a year ago, a little over a year. And once again, it was going really, really well. So, put the foot on the pedal again and decide what can we do? How can we do this faster? And that's where Bolivar Vacations came in. I joined as one of the owners for Bolivar Vacations, and now this week we're going to be crossing 50 houses under management, which I'm super excited about.
That's incredible. Wow, that is incredible. And the whole family is joined in, right? You and your wife and your brother. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We it's kind of like a perfect combination, because what Julie likes to do, and not only likes, is really good at, I am terrible at, and then what she doesn't like, and she hates the management piece, she hates the process system, I'm really good at. So it's a great, it makes a great team.
Well, I know I personally have my houses with Bolivar Vacations, and I've seen, I was always a fan of Bolivar Vacations, but I've seen a dramatic change in the responses, the aggressiveness. So I really appreciate everything you're doing and your enthusiasm. And that's what I tell my clients when they ask me, who do I use? I said, well, the enthusiasm is different. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're really excited about what we are. There's a lot of work to do, but we're super excited of the progress we've made and what's to come.
So, I want to discuss with you some things that you have your finger on the pulse for the short-term rentals. I have my finger on the pulse on the real estate here on Bolivar. So, people are always asking me, well, what's going on? What are you seeing? Well, I don't do that part for a living, but I know somebody who does, and here he is. So I'm going to ask some of the questions that are being asked of me. So awesome. Let's pick your brain for a little bit. Okay. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. So going into 2025, we're here. What trends do you think you're going to see in the short-term rental arena going into 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's 2 major trends. I think the first one, and it's pretty obvious. It's obvious, but it's not so bad as people make it sound to be. Which is, it's not nearly as easy to make money in short-term rentals as it was back in 21, 22. And I think the bottom line is, in 21, 22, with COVID and the pandemic, there was a lot of bottled up demand, and there was not enough supply. And every time there is, high demand, low supply, pricing is higher, demand, you're able to book it really easy. And I talked to a lot of owners and even other investors in the industry, And it's just like you throw anything on Airbnb, you didn't have to try. You just throw anything on Airbnb and it just made money, right? True. That's not the case anymore. Like there is plenty of supply. Supply has continually grown year over year. I think at the beach, our short-term rental supply last year was somewhere between 15 and 20% growth. So the number of short-term rentals grew by almost 20% in Gilchrist and Crystal Beach combined in the peninsula, I would say. Okay. So again, it's just harder to make money. Is it impossible? Absolutely not. You just have to do more. What does do more mean, right? And we can go into more depth into that. But doing more means just offering something better, offering a better product, offering a better. And your product can be the house itself, can be the design, the amenities, the experience. It can be better management. Being able to, if a guest needs something, being able to respond to that, and because at the end of the day, again, you got to see your short-term rental as a product, and you need to find ways to get that 5-star review.
So what you were saying, where people would just put it up there and then make money, that's not the case anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You need to have, again, you need to focus on offering a product that differentiates yourself from the supply, from the competition, I should say. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's, but again, I don't want this just to seem like, oh, I can't make money in short-term rentals anymore. That's not the case at all. You absolutely can. You just have to, again, offer a better product, offer a better house, a better experience. A better
and my experience is you got to buy it right to be, and also be able to make that money.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So you said one thing is, it's not going to be the same. Was there another? You said there were two things. What was the second one?
Yeah, the second one, and this is, the first trend that I saw is, again, you just got to offer a better product. The second one is, this is more nationwide. Experts really believe that 2024 was supposed to be the stabilization year, we call it, right? It's kind of like, hey, we saw up, and then 23 was a little bit lower, and then 24 expected it to be kind of, stabilized back compared to 23, but instead, nationwide, we actually saw a little bit of decline. So, the let's say experts, economists, whatever you want to call it, are now betting that 25 will be at a national level that stabilization year before returning to growth. And again, this is again talking about nationally, looking at nationally. Every market is different. We're seeing some pretty positive trends for early bookings for 25 already. So I'm optimistic that yes, that 25 actually is going to be a rebound year for us as a market in general. But as a national, like I said, experts are expecting that 25 is about flat compared to 24 before we return to growth.
So, and I could say the same thing for real estate. I think it's going to be the same thing. We're just going to see stabilization as far as the real estate market. I don't see any growth as far as the market getting better, because it's soft. So if you're a buyer out there, I'm going to plug it again. Now's a good time to buy. So as far as guest preferences changing, are you seeing any change in guest preferences? And if so, how can we as owners adapt? Or you as a property manager adapt to those changes?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where, again, it's really important to, I try to focus on our company, our business, our homes, but in short-term rentals, you can't just focus on that. You have to see what the competition is doing, right?
Of course.
So, if you're looking at 22, when my first short-term rental, there was very few hot tubs in the market, right? And hot tubs were, you added a hot tub and it was a differentiation. It still is, actually. The data shows the hot tubs do drive revenue significantly. But the market kind of evolves, right? So now you're seeing a few houses pop up with pools, above ground pools and so on. So those houses that do have pools are a significant minority, and those are doing really, really well.
Okay.
So again, I'm not saying that every house needs to have a pool, but that's the kind of thing that you need to kind of watching on and seeing what are the new trends in the market, right? Adding a pool is very expensive. So I never want to go to an owner and say, hey, you have to spend $50,000 to add a pool because you're going to do well. It's very difficult to make that.
You can't spend their money.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Somebody says, you know what, I have a lot of money and I want this to be the best performing short-term rental in the market. a pool is a really big driver for us today.
And I always say, make your house different. Like the pool. Is there other more economical ways that people could set themselves apart?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a game plan that we follow, which is every time we
Don't have to give your secrets.
Yes, no problem at all. This is, if you just look at our houses, you'll be able to find this information there, which is hot tubs, game rooms, and fire pits. Those do really well. And reason is, and again, when I go with my kids down to the beach, if it's raining and you don't have any amenities, the kids are going to be so bored. And when kids are bored, they're all over their parents, and parents are not happy because the kids are, it's kind of like, we try to create an experience that if you come to our house, to this house, rain or shine, you have something to do. If that's, being in the hot tub on the deck, if that's playing the arcade machine in the game room, playing ping pong, if it's not raining, you can go, at night you can go out in the fire pit and hang out and make s'mores. Again, it's more about having experience-based amenities as well. And I think, asking about trends, there is one really interesting trend that is really starting to pick up some steam, which is try to show these experiences in the photos. So, meaning, and people are even hiring actors and actresses nowadays to really sit by the fire and you literally make a photo shoot of people utilizing those amenities. And 2 years ago, we didn't see any people in any Airbnb photos, but now there's a lot of listings that do have those what we call action shots,
right,
with people with again, not selling just the house, but the experience. So people can picture them enjoying their amenities, enjoying the experience while they're there.
That's good. In Crystal Beach, there's not a whole lot of activities. We're getting more, but I always feel like people go to the beach, they get burned one day, and what do they do the next day? And to have those game rooms in the house, just other things for people to do does add to the whole package, because poor mom, she's got to figure out something to do with those kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly right. And I still remember, I was talking to, it was a person who bought a house a couple of doors down from mine years ago, our first short-term rental. He was an agent in a different market as well. He was an agent locally. But we talked at the time about adding more amenities, adding hot tub, we even discussed at one point potentially doing a neighborhood pool. And I still remember his response via email. He said, "We are a few steps from the beach. We don't need to add anything else." And that was the mentality back then. It was like, you don't need to add anything else. You're by the beach. But the reality is, again, if I have two houses, they're side by side, one of them is packed with amenities and can sell the experience, and the other one doesn't, 99 out of 100 times, the one with amenities is going to boom. Wow. It's just what it is, right? And a lot of people always thinking about, what is my next short-term rental? And we're seeing that if you sometimes reinvest in an existing short-term rental, your return on that money is quite a bit higher than having to, get yours going really, really well, learn the lessons, get a new one, and applying those lessons to that new one, versus just offering a lot of basic products, right? The basic houses.
I want to segue into this right now, since I'm talking to you, because I'm a realtor. I have people looking for houses all the time. If you were to come down here and look for a house, what would you be looking for if you're going to short-term rental it?
Great question. I think the closer you are to the beach, and this is a pretty obvious one, the easier it is to book your house. It really is. Especially, the way I like to say is, in the summer everything books. There's a lot of demand, and there's not that many houses, right? But if you're talking about in the shoulder seasons, or even in the lower season, meaning before summer, or spring, fall, and even winter, being close to the ocean, or the closer you are to the beach, the better. I think that's kind of number one.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that number two is houses. The usually bigger occupancy houses do well. If you can do, number one is the closer you are to the beach. Then of course,
heads and beds.
Yeah, exactly. Heads and beds. Exactly. The one thing I would say is, our market has some 3 bedrooms, a lot of 4 bedrooms, some 5 bedrooms, very, very, very few 6 bedrooms and above. So the data just shows that if you are able to get something that is 6 bedrooms above, I know it's a rarity in our market and it's also expensive, but like the return usually is quite a bit higher.
Really?
So little competition for that. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
That's very good to know. Okay. So, do you feel like that there's more parties being booked, weddings, whatever, for those bigger type houses?
Not necessarily. It's a great question about the weddings, and the reason is we're going to try that out this year. There's a few houses that offer that. We're looking to offer in a couple of hours as well. So I'll give you the answer when I get more data on that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's
but I think the number of bedrooms is, when people are going for beach vacations, there's usually 2 types of groups that we get. So one is small families. So if I go with my wife and our kids, a 3-bedroom is perfect for us, right? And you see those 3-bedroom homes do really well, especially in the fall and spring, because most of the people going there are they're smaller families. Now in the summer, it's not uncommon. It's actually very, very common for like multiple families to get together and go to the beach together, right? So if you can, in that multiple families could be, families. We have a lot of multi-generation guests as well.
Yes.
And grandparents, parents, and grandkids. So the more, and this is where the number of bedrooms make a difference, because yes, you can pack up a lot of beds in in a few bedrooms, but if you have actually more bedrooms, actually there's separation between the families or between the groups, or that's where it becomes really a difference maker.
Yeah, I agree. So it's the bedroom count, not necessarily the bed count.
Exactly.
And in bathrooms. Let me see how we're doing on time. We have about 10 more minutes. So
okay. Yes.
So you said that this year is a year of stabilization. What are you focusing on going into this year? Occupancy, revenue, guest satisfaction. How are you going to stand out?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a great question. I think, and I'm going to give you an answer, but then I'm going to add an asterisk to that. Okay. So, number one is, I think less important than occupancy or average daily rate is the total revenue. And this is where I think a really strong revenue management team or person. We have a full-time revenue manager for us. That person can look at the year as a whole, because it's very easy to get 100% occupancy. All you have to do is just lower your price to the bottom, and then you're getting a lot of occupancy. You're getting your house is booked all the time at a really low rate. But guess what happens when your house booked all the time at a really low rate? So first of all, we don't make money that you're looking for because the rate is too low, and then second of all, you get a lot of wear and tear. You're really getting a lot of wear and tear without even making that much money, right? So
work on that house.
Exactly. So really focus on maximizing the entire revenue, and that is finding the right price. We use all types of tools for benchmarking. We have our dynamic pricing tool. So we're always tweaking that to, at the end of the day, get the most revenue for the property. However, it's also very important.
Is this the asterisk?
Yeah, it is. Yes. Because it's important to have that one-on-one conversation with the owner that we're managing for, to understand what are their goals, what are they looking to get out of the house. And you'll be surprised how different that answer gets from owner to owner. Some people have this house as 100% investment, and they want to squeeze every dollar that they can, right? So we're going to be a little bit more aggressive with pricing on that, right? Other owners are like, this is my beach house, and I want to use it 3-4 times a year. And I want it to be paid for, or I want it to break even or get close to break even, and I don't want any reservations below this cost, and we'll kind of work them through that, right? So that is where, if the owner just wants to maximize investment, we know what to do there. However, if they want a little bit, I want to say special treatment, but there's some conditions there that we're willing to work, and we do work with every owner, keeping in mind what their goal for that house is, because not everyone is looking to get maximum investment. Some people just want proper management to take great care of their house for them, well cleaned, well maintained, and for it to pay for itself. And kind of the way we approach that is a little bit different.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to ask you just a little something that I like to ask people. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I listen to a lot of different blogs. Who are some of your influencers that have gotten you to where you are now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I came from the original Bigger Pockets group.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I started into real estate because of David Green and Brennan Turner. That's kind of how I got into real estate initially. One of the first books I read was the Burr book, the Buy, Rehab.
Yes.
That book like changed our lives, because we did, between my wife and I, we did almost 30 burrs between long-term rentals and short-term rentals. That's what kind of like really started our journey. More recently, I joined Tony Robinson. He's the host of the Bigger Pockets Rookie podcast. About a year and a half ago, I joined his program. I then became a coach in his community, so he's awesome. I know him pretty well now, and he's so he was my kind of my short-term rental influence early on.
Okay.
And then it's kind of that's the ones that I started. There's a few more, but I think that's kind of what got me started early on, I would say.
Who your mentor was.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Well, great. Well, great. So we're going to do these on a monthly basis. We'll host some different topics next time. I didn't even get through half the things on my list. I knew that there would be so much information in this phone call, but I wanted to thank you. And Felipe, if people wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way that they can contact you?
Yeah, so you can find Bolivar Vacations on all social media. On Facebook, it's Bolivar Vacations. On Instagram is Bolivar_Vacations. We're working on a YouTube channel. I know, Beth, we talked about that. Yes. Or you can find me personally on Instagram or at Invest with Felipe. And that's kind of my most active, I say, social media. I think we're growing at Bolivar Vacations. We have an awesome team. They're really excited to help more and more investors this year.
Great. Thank you.